Tips for reducing the control that anxiety has on us. If you live with anxiety of any kind, I hope this is of help to you. Anxiety and panic attacks were a big problem for me for a long time, and I was able to learn some strategies to help weaken their power and control over me. I hope what I share in this article gives you some ideas to squelch your anxiety. The most important thing we need to understand is that anxiety feeds on worry. This, of course, is a pretty obvious conclusion that most of us can make. But here's the interesting thing. On those rare occasions when anxious people are not experiencing anxiety, it can feel strange. It can actually cause more anxiousness because it feels different and strange to not worry because anxious people are hypervigilant and used to feeling on edge. Many anxious people then look for problems or something to worry about to nourish their anxiety to feel comfortable. It's a horribly painful cycle, and I know this because I have done it to myself, and I still do from time to time. If you have anxiety, please think hard about this to see if this is your pattern. If so, you need to begin starving your anxiety. In other words, recognize that you are having an anxious thought and don't feed it with another anxious thought or worry on top of it. Tell yourself, this is nothing but a harmless, anxious thought. This is normal. Everyone has them. I am safe. I don't need to get more upset about feeling anxious. Or say something similar. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but the more you practice, the more you will feel in control. We need to train ourselves to allow peace of mind and calmness to be our reality. For people who have obsessive compulsive disorder, you might be familiar with a term called exposure response prevention, or ERP. What this means is that you purposely expose yourself to what causes you anxiety and then not act on the anxiety. In OCD terms, a person has an obsessive thought and then they do an activity or a compulsion to try and turn off the obsessive thought. The purpose of exposure response prevention is to expose yourself to what would cause a compulsion due to the anxious voice and then not act on it. For example, turning on a light switch a certain number of times because you think if you don't do it, someone you love might be harmed. It's usually very uncomfortable at first to not try and appease the anxious thought, but it gets much easier with practice. I speak from personal experience regarding OCD, as it was once a very profound part of my life years ago that I have learned to work through effectively, but it is still an ongoing practice. To put this in terms of all forms of anxiety, the key to switching out of it is to fully experience and accept all of the uncomfortable feelings and allow time for them to pass. Do not resist and do not run. Let them come. Let yourself feel all of it. Breathe and let your rational mind enter. Speak to your anxious thoughts with that rational mind, understanding that these are just harmless thoughts that have no meaning other than what we choose to give them. This is so much easier said than done, which is why letting go needs to be a daily practice with steadfast dedication. Changing our mindset involves small, repeated steps, also called micro habits. Each step builds on the one before it, and this takes time. Be okay with this. There is no rush. Remember that your mind has been doing what it has for a long time, and it might take time to unlearn its habits. Be patient with yourself. Remind yourself that this is just anxiety, it's normal, and it's okay to feel this way. There is no need to be alarmed above and beyond what we already are. Replace your thoughts with new thoughts that are calming. Repeat them over and over repeatedly to break the pattern of the broken record of fearful and anxious thoughts. Meditate, pray, breathe, go for a walk, talk to someone. Do whatever you need to do to not feed the anxiety. Let it be what it is without adding more worried, anxious thoughts on top of it. Recognize it, sit with it without emotion, and let it go. Lastly, don't identify or label yourself as an anxious person. You are just a person with normal, anxious thoughts that come and go. Don't think of it beyond that. Practice this and what was mentioned above every day, and it will help to reduce your anxiety. Also, below is a list of additional resources that might help, and please also see the resources section on my website. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope this was helpful. If you'd like to read and hear more of my blog, you can go to my website, which is tomseaman.com. Along with my blogs, I have videos, articles, podcasts, and links to a lot of resources for both physical and emotional health issues. You can also pick up a copy of my 2 books, Diagnosis Dystonia and Navigating the Journey, and my second book, Beyond Pain and Suffering, Adapting to Adversity and Life Challenges. Both are also on Amazon. You can also go to my website and sign up for my free newsletter. This way, all new blogs and updates will be delivered to your email. You can also go there to sign up for a free life coaching consult with me if you're interested in doing that. Thank you again, and I hope you are doing well and take good care of yourself.